Hello everybody, this is Ryan and this is lesson 35 of learning JavaScript. In this lesson we're going to continue our series on working with the event handlers, and specifically we're going to look at the keyboard related event handlers, onkeypress, onkeydown and onkeyup. So we need to link to our external JavaScript file as per usual. I've created also a form for this exercise with a text area and then also a div tag where we can output some information. So in the JavaScript, I've created a variable to retrieve the div tag based on the ID. But I need to do the same for the text area. So I could either give the text area an ID or I could just make use of the built-in component arrays. So I'll just use the built-in component arrays. Document.form0.element0. So we'll start with the onkeypress event, and you have two choices. You can either attach this to the entire document so that you can press a key anywhere within the document, or you can attach it specifically to the text area. So I'll say text area.onkeypress and I'll call a function, anonymous function, and then I'll just print a message to the block, to the div tag. So now every time I press the key inside the text area, it should print something to the screen. Notice that if I'm outside the text area and I press a key, nothing happens. So the onkeypress event is specifically being attached to the text area. To attach it to the document instead, just type document instead of text area. Okay, so let's try press a key anyway. It will still work if I'm inside the text area as well, but it now works anywhere within the document as well. Let's now look at the onkeydown event. Pretty much behaves in the same way as the onkeypress event. There is a big difference though in that the onkeypress event does not cater for every key on the keyboard. So keys like escape, insert, delete, home, end, page up, page down, Control Alt and the arrow keys actually do nothing with an onkeypress event. But with an onkeydown, if I press escape it still works, if I press delete, insert, it still works. So the onkeydown and onkeyup events are actually much better ways of working with the keyboard, because then no matter what key on the keyboard you press, it should work. Now let's look at how we can work with a specific key press. So far we've just looked at pressing any key on the keyboard. So in order to work with a specific key, we need to get the key code for that key. So every key on the keyboard has a code assigned to it. So within Internet Explorer and Google Chrome, there is a built-in object called the window.event object, and you can get the key code from this object. Unfortunately, Firefox and other browsers don't have this window.event object, so there's another way we have to get the key code. So I'm going to use an if statement to test to see if the window.event object exists in the browser. If it does, it will return true. I'm also going to create a variable for the key code, and I'm going to assign that to event. Well, I can say window.event, or I can say event.keycode. So a property of the event object is the keycode property. Remember that Firefox won't have this, so I'll need an else statement to catch the other browsers. And the other browsers like Firefox will actually pass the event to the function. as an argument. So you just create an argument in the brackets. Normally we just use E for event. And then to get the key code with Firefox, you just say equal to e.which. And then I'm going to display the key code into the div tag. Okay. Now let's see what happens. There's the letter D is actually 68. If I press escape, it's 27. Enter is 13. Spacebar is 32, and so on. So every key on the keyboard has a specific code. So let's just check it in Firefox as well to make sure that it's working. There we go. So in Firefox it also works. I'm going to simplify this by using the ternary operator. So we'll say var keycode is equal to test to see if the window.event object is present. If it is, question mark, then the keycode will be equal to event.keycode. Otherwise the keycode will be equal to e.which. So this is much shorter to use the ternary operator. It's one line of code. Okay, so what I want to do now is when I press the R key on the keyboard, I want to change the background color of this text area to red. If I press the G key, I want to turn it to green, and if I press the B key, I want to turn it to blue. So we need to first know what the codes for all of those keys are. So R is 82, so what I'll do is I'll just have an if statement. If the key code is equal to 82, so this will be for red, else if the key code is equal to, let's see what the code for G is, 71. Else if the key code, now I need the code for B, 66. That's for blue. So I need to set the background color of the text area. So I've already got a variable that represents the text area. So I need to manipulate the style property of that. So to make life easier, I'll just create a local variable called bg for the background color. And then in each of the if statements, I'll just initialize that to a different value. Either red, green, or blue. And then we'll say block dot or text area dot style dot background color is equal to bg. So press the R key, G key, B key, and the color changes. I just want to double check in Firefox that this works as well. R, G, B. So there we have the code for determining a specific key press on the keyboard. One other thing we can do is we can convert the key code to the letter equivalent with a string function. I'll just show you how to do this quickly. So once you've retrieved the key code, we can print to the block and then use a string function. So the string function is part of the string object, and it's called from char code at Now from char code, and you just then give it the key code as an argument, and it tries to convert that key code to its letter equivalent. So if I press R, G, B, T, it's actually printing the values of those letters. It's not foolproof, however. If I press escape, nothing happens. Space, nothing happens. So certain codes are not recognized correctly. Like if I press the plus sign, it gives me a K, and the minus sign gives me a M. So there are a couple of issues with converting back to its letter equivalents. I would suggest that you rather just test the code. In that way you'll know exactly which key on the keyboard was pressed. And this ends our lesson on working with the keyboard event handlers.